Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a fun project today. We're going to make these really cool sparkly resin glitter earrings! Yay! Oh, doesn't it make you happy just to talk about glitter and resin and sparkles? Well, it does me anyway. We're going to use this really cool glitter from Paper Mart, 99 cents a tube. Love this stuff. We're also going to use this Abaca mesh. It's the Deco Scrunch mesh from Paper Mart. We're going to make some really cool earring display cards and gift giving cards with this so that you'll have something to put your fabulous earrings on. And I also want to thank our sponsor, Paper Mart, for bringing us these fabulous products. You can check them out online at www.papermart.com, where you can find them for yourself. There'll also be a link under this video to take you right there to the products that I used. So without further ado, let's go to the table and make some cool sparkly stuff. Yay! Okay, I have all my supplies out at the table, and I have added a ½ ounce of resin into my little mix cup and 8 drops of catalyst, because that's what I need for my environment and where I'm going to be curing the resin. So always refer to your resin packaging to see how much of what to mix with what, because your package will tell you exactly what to do. I have my glitter ready, and I'm just mixing up my resin and catalyst with a wooden popsicle stick. And I just get those at the dollar store. And my little resin cup, I actually just made from an applesauce cup. Those work really well, and I just measured out to the markings and wrote them on the side of my container with a Sharpie. Alright, don't worry about bubbles now, because they'll just kind of come on out. You can breathe on them, and that will take them right out. You can use a straw to do that. Alright, I've got wax paper on my work surface, and what I'm going to do is fill the cavities of this mold with a little resin. I'm not going to fill it all the way because we're going to top it off with another color. So I'm just kind of coating the mold with the resin. I would recommend that you try to pour it as carefully as you can, because then you'll have less filing and sanding to do down the road. Quickly going to add my resin, my glitter onto my resin. So I'm going to start with the bottom and a little bit of blue. Now, since I'm putting this into fairly juicy resin, it's going to sink to the bottom and really mix in there good. We're going to get a nice, vivid, glittery shine from this. Now, you could do the rainbow effect by lining up all your glitter colors and putting them in exactly like this. You just can't put as much glitter if you need to fit all the colors of the rainbow in. And that's a really fun project too. But I've seen a lot of those around on Pinterest lately and on the YouTube and everything, so I thought we'd do something different today and still, you know, get a little more use out of your supplies. Alright, now, so I found a really great way to color my resin, and since this is pretty juicy, I'm going to go right ahead and add it to this, and I'm using dry tempera. And this was 79 cents. It's certainly affordable. I got it at Martin's for 79 cents, so you know, you'll pay a little bit more elsewhere. But since it has no liquid in it, it actually works almost like an embedment into your resin. So I'm just putting in a small scoop. I'd say that's probably about, oh, I don't know, ½ a teaspoon maybe. And I'm going to mix this in. Now, generally, I would mix up a whole new batch of resin. I would mix this into the resin and then add hardener. But I've got this here ready. It's still juicy. We just made it, so I can go right ahead and mix it on the fly like that. But if you were doing a big batch, you probably want to make this up separately. It doesn't add to any curing time because you're not adding any moisture into the resin. You also don't need to add more catalyst because this is almost like an embedment. Now look at that. It looks like liquid metal, doesn't it? I just love the look of that. So that was my little experiment this week, seeing if I could color it with this stuff. And I'm adding it right into the wet resin, trying to fill it right to the top without overfilling. And we're going to want this to mix and bubble around in there. So don't try to make a perfect even coat. You're going to want some variation. So I'm just filling up the rest of these molds. It can be kind of a pain in the butt to wear gloves when you use this, but it's also a pain in the butt to wash your hands afterwards because this resin is super sticky. And whatever you get it on, it is very hard to wash off. You'll have to use like nail polish remover with acetone in it. So I recommend, you know, put up with the gloves. Sometimes I'll just use the gloves to mix it, and then I'll take them off when I go to pour. But really, this is hard to wash off of stuff. So make sure you protect your work surface and you protect your skin. Also, proper ventilation. This polyester resin is very stinky, so is the epoxy resin. So if you're going to use resin, make sure that you have windows open, fans on. I actually cure my resin outside on nice warm days, right in the sunshine. What I do is I put a piece of plexiglass on my picnic table. I put my resin molds on top of that, and then I cover it with a Rubbermaid container, just a clear container. And I put it on upside down so the sun can get in and heat it all up. Now I've used up pretty much everything perfectly. So now if I want to add some swirls in there, I can. I'm going to take off my gloves because I'm done playing with the pot of resin. You can reuse your gloves quite a few times. I get the 8-pack at the dollar store in the first aid section, and you know, I can use the gloves for several sessions. I'm going to swirl this around, and you can get different effects. You could get like a marbly pattern. You could get kind of like clouds. I call these my Cosmos earrings because they remind me of pictures from the Hubble telescope after they're all settled and cured. You have a very short window to be playing with this. I think the polyester resin might have a little longer pot time or open time to work with. And I'm going to show you some different effects that you can get if you let your resin, if you let the layers of resin sit between overcoating. So I'll show you that in just a second, but I want to get this all kind of stirred in a little bit. You can just see what it does on its own without stirring, but I want a little bit of variation in there. Okay, so at this point I'm going to take this outside to cure, and I'm going to show you some other examples, so I'll be back in just a moment. Alright, I've taken my resin outside to cure, and these are some I made earlier, and I popped them out, and you can see they have this really pretty glitter, but also you'll see variations where the glitter is kind of suspended in air or in resin. You see the clear bits, and you see some of the silver coming through from the tempera paint, and it just gives you a very ethereal look to your jewelry. So now if you also look, you'll see where I've spilled here and there. There's little bumpy areas. What you want to do to take care of that is to file it, and I like to use just a file. This is actually a hardware store file. It's a Husky brand. You can get a big set of these files for a few bucks at Lowe's or the Home Depot or any sort of hardware store. You can also use your little, if you have Scrapbooker and you have the scrapbooking files, these are the scrapbooking files, those work as well, really well. Look how quickly that cleaned up the center hole there. For the outside of this is pretty clear, but you can use scissors to trim off any big chunks. There's no big chunks on this. You can use a nail file or an emery board, or a little file like this, or some sandpaper. Just try not to scratch a surface too much, and then you won't have to glaze. If your jewelry looks a little dull, you can glaze over it with a little Future Floor Wax. It's also called Pledge. I don't know if it says Future on the bottle anymore, but that works really well for bringing out a little more shine if your piece comes out a little duller. So take off any rough edges, and then we'll be back and I'll show you how to finish your earrings. I just wanted to give you a quick reminder, when you do sand your resin pieces and file them down, wear a dust mask if you're going to do quite a bit of it, because you don't want to breathe in any of that resin dust. Alright, so I said I'd show you some examples. Here are some with clear resin, and I put some buttons in, then I put the glitter, so you got the glitter kind of suspended behind that. This I did, I put my first layer of resin in clear, let it set for a few minutes, then I put my glitter, and then I put some more clear resin in the back, so you've got the distinct levels of resin. You can get kind of a dichro look there if you back it with a colored resin, like a black or red or some color you like. So there's just some different versions that you can do, and those I just wire wrapped, did the same thing. When you work in a batch, you'll end up with different styles depending on how your resin's curing as you're getting around to pouring the glitter in. So give it a try, it's a lot of fun. And also, if you notice that your resin comes out of the mold a little dull, just give it a coat of the Future Floor Wax or any clear sealer and you'll be good to go. Alright, so to make the earrings you need 2 ear wires, and you'll need 2 pieces of wire to match your ear wires. So I've got these silver colored copper wire here, and I'm just cutting off about 6 or 7 inch long pieces. Just depends on how much wrapping you want to do. I always cut the wire together because then my earrings end up looking more similar. So what I'm going to do is put the wire through the hole in my earring, and I'm going to fold it up. So I've kind of just trapped it in there. You could use your pliers to bend that if you want to. Then I'm going to wrap one end around a couple times. And then I'm going to make a loop with this leftover wire. Going to bend it towards myself and bend it up, and then go over my plier, reinsert my pliers, and bend the wire in front. But I'm not going to wrap this loose wire around. I'm going to wrap it with that wire so I get a really nice secure loop. So then I'm going to just go right around and pull that around a couple times. I'm going to trim my ends as closely as I can using my flush side cutters. You can use the cutters that are on your 3-in-1 tool, but I find that the separate side cutters work a little bit easier. And then you can file down any loose wire, or you can just kind of squish it in with your pliers. Sometimes you'll have to go in there with the tips and just kind of tuck it under. And again, my best wire working is not done on video because I got to get my face right in there. Now I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can hopefully see a little bit better. Putting the wire in and just kind of trapping that just by folding both ends up. I'm going to wrap one end around a couple times. Try not to bend your wire too much as you do that so you don't weaken it. I'm going to make my loop. And wrap it around to the front so I can secure it in with the other wire. It's coming in from the opposite way, so I know I'm going to get a nice secure loop, and I'm going to wrap this around it 2 or 3 times just so it matches the other earring. And then we want to trim off our excess wire. Now take a little more time with that, be a little more elegant. My video is getting kind of long and I want to get it done for you. And then you simply need to attach the ear wires by opening up the rings with your pliers. Just give it a twist and put your earring on there and twist it closed. And repeat that for the other earring. And there you have some really unique earrings that you can make in batches. They'd make really fun craft fair items, and they'd also make really fun party favors or things for you to wear, Christmas gifts, little classroom gifts, whatever. So there you have it. Very cute, easy pair of earrings. But wait, there's more. You probably want a cute way to display these earrings at your next craft fair. Well, I'm going to show you how to make a really cute earring easel. Now here's one I made for the rosebud earrings we made in our last video. And I'm going to show you how to make one for more dangly earrings. So the first thing you want to do is score your paper. This is a 3" by 8.5" piece of cardstock. And I'm gonna give it a couple scores here. I'm gonna give it a score at about 3.5 inches. And again at 3.5 inches from there. And I'm just gonna make this little easel, and I'm gonna score it about 1/2 inch from the end here. You'll want to have some really great double-sided tape or some hot glue handy too for this. And I'm just going to fold on those score lines I made, lining it up to the edge just to make sure I scored it straight. You could use a score pal, it would be a lot easier, but my score pal is way over there, so I'm just using my bone folder to keep my folds nice and crisp. And then this is going to be the top easel part of my holder, and I don't want the color of my cool mesh here to distract from my earrings. So what I'm going to do is actually use this little thumb punch. It's a 1/2 inch circle, and go in from each side and give it a little punch. Could help if I punched all the way through, wouldn't it? That'd be fabulous. Squeeze it good. And do that again on the other side. Get my paper out of there. The paper's still stuck in there. I think it'll be fine. Give it another little punch. Both pieces came out that time. And then from the back, I'm going to glue this mesh in place. Use my hot glue gun here. And just go right around the holes. It's not going to take a lot of glue to keep this in place. Just be careful you don't burn yourself, because this mesh is very holey and the glue will seep through and get ya. bone folder in there to tap that down, and then a little bit of glue right along that edge. This is just a unique way that you can display any of your earrings for sale. And that's what I love about Paper Mart products, is that you can buy things in bulk and save a lot of money, so that when you do craft fairs or when you're packaging gifts or your wares or whatever, you have, you know, you can sell them at a reasonable price. So then all you have to do is slide your earrings into the little holes that you've punched. Now, isn't that clever and a fun way to display your fabulous new creations? I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, leave a comment below in the comment box and I will be more than happy to help you out. I want to thank our sponsor Paper Mart for bringing us this fabulous tutorial. Check out their glitter, 99 cents a tube. It's a great deal. Also, their scrunch fabric that we used here, their mesh fabric, that is also affordable and comes in many colors and styles. And that's it for today. Go check them out at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.